What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Raggedy Pack. Today, we're back at it again with Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 18. In the last episode, god fucking damn. It was very mixed emotions because we had the first half, which was all about Thorfinn versus Snake. The face-off we've been waiting for since like Episode 4, when the two first met. And then the last half of the episode, or last 3/4 of the episode, were all about Gardar. His past, his feelings, a lot of stuff that was expanded upon from the manga, which is really just a few panels, half a chapter maybe. They really did it right. My thoughts on the art, like this whole Gardar arc, they've done it really well. They made me care a lot more about Gardar as a character compared to the manga, which I still cared about him, but the fact that they allotted this time to expand upon it, I don't know how this was decided, if it was just talks between the director and the author for the manga, but they fucking cooked. I loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, what were your thoughts on the episode?
I love the episode. You mentioned how Gardar got like more story in the anime than in the manga. Isn't it the opposite for Snake, where he had some stuff that was in the manga that was cut, but we still got like a description of, where he's from and what he's about, kind of?
So no, they didn't really cut anything regarding Snake, I don't think. I do remember reading a comment on the last episode saying there was meant to be something regarding Snake. However, I guess they just didn't make the final cut for production. We did get a name drop for Snake that he was from Micklegard, I forget the exact term, which is basically Constantinople, alluding to that he basically served some empire there. I don't know. I remember someone mentioned it in the comments. I don't fully remember the term, but that little bit of like that line we got was something that wasn't in the manga. So we did get expansion on Snake as well. Just, I guess, not what was, I guess, fully planned or scripted out.
Okay, I see.
They just didn't make the final cut, I guess.
Okay, so it was just the final cut for the episode. There was more stuff.
I'm assuming there's more stuff planned, because the way the show has been going, they've been expanding upon a lot of, I guess, more minor things that were kind of covered briefly in the manga. So I don't know if they're going to reintroduce stuff regarding Snake later on. But from what people were saying in the manga, in the comments, there was more stuff planned for Snake stuff that wasn't in the original source.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up. I just got all my information confused. It's all jumbled together in my mind. But one thing that I didn't forget was how at the beginning of last episode, Thorfinn and Snake fighting, it was sick. Like the way they were talking about each other, like, well, not really talking, but they were thinking in their head, like, how does he have these skills? Basically,
yeah,
it showed them side by side, the close-ups on their face.
Yeah, that shit is so hype. Like, they're just sizing each other up. Like, how can a slave be so strong? How can a simple guard be this strong? They don't know anything about each other's past, and they're just learning about each other through the fight. It's so fucking hype. I love that shit.
Yeah. And I think Thorfinn did a really good job of fighting, considering he didn't have a weapon. He was fighting with his bare hands.
That's that has been something I've been thinking about. Would the fight been different if Thorfinn had, because obviously he doesn't have his daggers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he would have fought with a weapon, but like, I don't imagine, like, it's not like I don't think he could just grab like a random sword off the ground or some shit and been fine. I think, the way they like kind of they showed it, his fighting style was basically him with his knives, but without his knives, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he just fought with his fists.
And the thing is, like, even if he did have a weapon, I'm not sure if it would have mattered, because I'm assuming he wouldn't have been aiming to kill Snake. He would have been trying to disarm him. I'm not sure having daggers or like a short sword, polearm, whatever weapon would make that easier for him
Yeah, a big something I've been debating in like this past week, in my head. So, Thorfinn, a big development point for Thorfinn is that he does not want to kill anyone. However, this I'll come back to this in a second. This fight between Thorfinn and Snake reminds me of a lot of the fight between Thor's and Askeladd, where Thor's was the better fighter, but because the win condition wasn't between the two of them fighting, Thorfinn got pulled in and used as a hostage. Askeladd had to let himself die as a martyr for everyone else to get away. In a very similar sense, Thorfinn might have been the better fighter between him and Snake, but since the positioning of the battle landed Snake right next to Gardar, Thorfinn, like it was ultimately a loss for Thorfinn.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But, to go into that a bit deeper, Gardar being an element in the field, what I'm imagining is a big moral conundrum for Thorfinn, where essentially if he had a weapon, if he went into the fight aiming to kill, could he have saved Gardar at the cost of Snake's life? Would that been an option for him? I know the way he talked about, he doesn't want any more, like basically, he doesn't want the burden of having killed another person, even if it's just one. But at the cost, as a result of his actions, Gardar still died because he essentially went into the fight handicapped. If he did have a weapon, if he did go in with the intent to kill, could the outcome have been different? That's something I've been thinking about.
Possibly, but I think like, how would he decide whose life is more valuable between Snake and Gardar? That's like an impossible choice. Like if I'm Thorfinn, I don't want to, because like you don't know for sure that Snake is going to kill him. Like you're going to fail to protect him. That you're going to end up in those positions where he's that close to him to be able to stab him through the chest, stomach, that area. But I understand what you're saying. Looking forward into the future, if he finds himself in a similar situation, what does he do? Does he act like with that intent to kill, to save someone? Maybe it depends on who he's trying to save and the person he's fighting, because I don't consider Snake a bad guy at all. He's like more of a gray character.
I agree.
If Thorfinn was fighting someone that was more, someone with malice, someone with evil intent, maybe he'd be more willing to go to that length. But both of them just seem like, well, Gardar was kind of incapacitated, but he had went on a murder spree, and Snake was just trying to, get justice for his men.
Yeah.
So we discussed that a lot last week, the situation and like the morals behind it and whatnot. I don't know what Thorfinn would do. What do you think?
So it's tough because like if we take the idea of him killing one life to save another and like exaggerate it, what if let's say there was, I don't know, a terrible person, and if Thorfinn were to kill that person, he could save more as a result. Is it justifiable for him to do so? Is it within his care? Like it's basically, he has to break this new code he has for himself, but ultimately, like, it's like, would he trade one life for like more lives as a result, or would he like look for some other way? Because if it could be a completely different situation, but he fights this way where he's not trying to kill his opponent, just kind of put him down, but as a result of him fighting like that, more people die as a result. I could, like, that's a big moral debate. Yeah, I feel like he'd have to come to term, like, or he'd have to battle with. But ultimately, I feel like with his character now, he doesn't want to kill. He'll basically look for another option.
Yeah, I don't think his like methods and ideology on pacifism is in its final form. I don't think it's perfected yet. I think he'll learn as he goes along that there will be times where he's going to have to get his hands dirty again for the greater good to save either, a person that's on the good side or just save like the majority of people. You got one person or a couple people coming at like a village or something, and there's no other way to deal with the situation other than kill them. You can try to find another way, but in the heat of the moment when things are happening that fast, it's just not as easy as sometimes it can seem in things like anime and movies where, you know, the perfect opportunity arises. But you got something?
Kind of going into what you're saying about like his ideals not being like in the final form yet. It's kind of like a parallel to Thor's again. It's crazy how much Thor's rubbed off on the kid. But Thor's some lines from Thor's were basically a true warrior doesn't need a weapon. However, Thor's himself still carried around a sword because he viewed it as like a crutch. He was essentially admitting he wasn't a true like he wasn't to that point yet. He still had to rely on a sword during some circumstances. The main one being in the fight against Askeladd, he picked up a sword again as opposed to fighting him with his fists. But so that's another parallel to draw of that, like of Thorfinn not being. He's pursuing his ideal, but it's not, like you said, in its final form yet. It's not fully realized. He still has some work to do. But that's the main thing I wanted to add. Did you have anything?
Yeah, let's talk about the latter 75% of the episode with Gardar bleeding out, taking the ride with Arnheid, having the flashbacks of Hjalti, his old family. It was just tragic. We didn't say a lot during the reaction because I think we were all just, you know, feeling the moment. And by the end of it, I was pretty emotional. I didn't cry or anything, but it definitely like hit.
Gardar is a tragic character. He did what he thought. He pursued something he thought would be good for himself and for his family, for his home. And it ultimately ended up being the worst possible move for him, and he lost everything as a result of that. Eventually, his own life. Yeah. The only solace is that he got to spend his last moments peacefully, not knowing the truth that his son is actually dead. And we saw him kind of reunite with his son in the end, in his whether it was in his hallucinations as he was about to die, or if it's essentially supposed to represent him and his son reuniting in the afterlife, whatever you want to refer to it as. But it definitely was an emotional moment. Like I said, like it was greatly expanded upon based off the manga, but it's really cool because it was like a lot of visuals. There wasn't a whole lot of dialogue. It was a lot of watching just scenes play out. Gardar himself wasn't talking that much. There was very little dialogue in that last quarter, or like 3/4 of the episode. It was just really well done.
I agree.
Something else that was brought up that I didn't know, I didn't catch on, but the scene, this is also like a callback to the first scene in the first episode, where it's basically talking about it was talking about slavery. It was talking about engraving it upon to your enemy, engraving it upon to your loot, and eventually it transitioned to Einar's introduction. However, a lot of those scenes that were playing out were actually Gardar, and we also saw Arnheid and Hjalti in the background as well. That's something that completely went over my head, because I mentioned this originally. I envisioned Gardar being blonde. I didn't know he had brown hair. There apparently was some official depictions of him with brown hair, but I never saw them during my time reading the manga. So I never recognized him from those early scenes, but someone pointed out, and when I watched back, it was the fucking same scenes. We saw they dropped Gardar and Arnheid really early on. I just unfortunately did not catch it, and of course you would have people who have not read the manga would have no understanding of who that is. That it might have been just felt very disconnected from the rest of the show at that point.
Right.
But that's just incredible details they did.
Yeah, I'm glad someone left that comment on the video because it was cool to go back and see that in retrospect. Like, oh wow, they had this scene here at the beginning the whole time.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool. So they've just been doing this show justice. It's been great. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have Kojo this week. Busy with work, completely understandable. And I have a feeling he's going to be missing he might be missing a banger. I say, like, I don't know what's about to come up. But every episode's been a banger, so that's not really any spoilers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, or should we rip it?
I think we're ready to rip it.
All right. If you like our content, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. It really helps out the channel and it means a lot to us personally. Consider checking out our other videos, and if you want to, check out our Patreon. We have full-length reactions over there, along with 2-week early access of some series going on. Right now, Demon Slayer. We might have other stuff coming up in the future. Don't want to officially announce anything. But yeah, besides that, come in our Discord if you want to come chat with us, and it'll be a good time. With all that being said, let's get into it.
Let's go. Oh
Got some
boy.
boats. Who are those?
I mean, it's not that many boats, so I would assume Kettle and Co, right? It was 4 ships, 2 big ones.
I think they're just on one boat.
Oh,
well.
fuck.
Yeah, we saw Wolf. They're kind of in bad shape right now, so...
So they've heard the tales about Kettle too. Oh, he knows he's capping. Oh man.
He's about to raise the farm. Oh, that head's talking. Got the fucking green goblin in the closet.
Pretty much, yeah.
You see 32 Thanes on that boat?
I didn't count 32, no.
They got more boats.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a one-man boat, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome home. He's still in the fucking barrel.
Oh my god, he's gonna be sick.
Hey, you gotta strike.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Oh, they know now.
Yeah, what do you think when he says that?
You're shocked when you get the news.
He didn't even mention that it's Canute.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna get what he wants. Chance to be a warrior.
This is not what he wanted, I bet. This may be your last battle.
True.
Yeah. You don't look too happy. That fort ain't gonna do shit.
Episode 1. Get them walls up.
They should know who they're fighting.
Yeah.
Then again, they might just leave.
I don't
know if they're all precious. Oh shit, they're tied up.
Punishment. They need them to fight, man.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's soft.
We've seen him bust out the stick too.
Yeah, but he did one hit and then wanted no part of it after that.
なのかな。
すまん。
どうしても戦わなきゃならない時だってあるよ。
That's completely
あり
true.
がとう
Yep.
トルフィン。
俺はヘビさんが好きだ。
He likes
I like
Snake.
him too.
優しくて筋の通った人だと思う。もっといい方法があったんじゃないかって。
Interesting.
こんなにも人が傷ついて命が奪われなきゃいけなかったのかって。
Was there another way?
Just gonna have to think about it.
俺は探そうとしたのかって。
無理だよ。
Einar
あれだ
says
け
no.
客人が死んでしまったらヘビさんだって引けない。
Yeah. Things progress too far without Thorfinn being involved, so
暴力は最後の手段だ。傷つけていい人間なんてどこにもいないんだ。
the hindsight will fucking eat at you.
Yeah.
そうだな。
But I mean, there are questions he has to ask for the future.
Mhm.
So what does Kettle do about Arnheid?
I imagine he just wants to be comforted by her.
ハルレイズ。
ハラルド王が亡くなったそうじゃありませんか。
Left on red.
あなたあの奴隷のアバズレ女なら縛り上げて馬小屋に放り込んでありますよ。あなたがいない間に大変なことをしてかしたんですから。この件いい加減に済ませちゃいけませんよ、あなた。
逃亡。
You can smell the envy.
Yeah.
なぜ何もかもわしの手からこぼれていくんだ。
Man's whole world is crashing down right now.
Yeah.
逃亡だと。
旦那に確認を取ってからだ。
よし、わかった。
I don't think Kettle's in the best headspace right now. So
No, definitely not.
he might,
I don't know when Leaf is gonna get to meet up with Thorfinn.
he's left on red too.
パテールさん。
失礼ですが、リーフさん。奴隷購入の資金に余裕は終わりですか？
They trying to build an army or
は
something?
い。まあ、多少。
Or just work to
ト
put
ル
up
フ
the
ィンは
walls?
ただで譲ってもらえる
I'm not
約束
sure.
ですし、本当に厚かましいお願いなのですが、レイフさん。トルフィンの他にあと2人、奴隷を身請けしてはいただけませんか？
Need the whole squad to get out.
He's the goat, man.
Yeah, Patar is fucking great. What a guy.
今頃お前、裸にひんむかれてな。俺たち全員にズタズタに侵されてるぜ。
Okay.
殺された仲間の弔い代わりにな。それ
Kinda ruined for Canute right now. Not gonna lie.
死んだ仲間が浮かばれねえ。
I want Kettle to come up and show him why they call him Iron Fist.
You want him to fist him?
何をしている？
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
旦那、帰ってらしたね。
That horse going crazy.
アルネイズに用がある。逃げようとしたのか、わしから。
He's putting on a front right now.
なぜだ、ア
Yeah.
ルネイズ。
Think so.
なぜ？
Never mind.
Not a front, brother.
なぜだ。
I mean, she's pregnant. This isn't good.
It's not.
何のために？
You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, that. Oh. Goes now.
お腹で赤ちゃんがいます。どうかこれ以上はお許しを。
わしはお前だけを信じていたのだ。何を信じろというのだ。信じるとはどういうことだ。
What is this?
It's Iron Fist Kettle, brother.
You're supposed to do that to the dude. He's gonna kill her. Oh, thank God, Snake.
Damn, that's rough.
Bro,
I knew that was coming, and goddamn, that still got me a bit.
I'm shook. Might be some wounds you can't treat internally.
Yeah. Leaf is the fucking goat.
Yeah.
トルフィンの他にもう二人奴隷がいると聞いた。誰がいらんと言った。
Oh boy.
トルフィンとエイナルはどこへなりと連れて行けばいい。
Well, that's good, at least.
だがアルネイスはおらん。その女はわしのものだ。
Really seeing the ugly side of him right now. Goddamn.
Yeah. He became like the #1 villain.
Yeah. Lost all respect for him. Yeah, was she hit in the head too?
Yeah, it looked like it. On the back of the neck, in the back, stomach.
生きてはいる。だがずっと気を失ったままだ。助かるかどうかはわからない。許さんぞ。
I bet you Thorfinn and Einar are beating themselves up now.
わしが育て上げたもの。
Yeah.
わしが大切にしてるものをかすめ取ろうと。あと、俺より具足を。おい、親父。
Left on red.
What's in the box?
Armor? Sword? A. Well, actually, not A. What does that say?
Oh no, those are ruins. So we might see Iron Fist Kettle become realized.
Bro. Well, I was excited for that until he beat the shit out of Arnhide with a stick.
Yeah.
The flogging V2.
Yeah, much worse.
You want to go?
Up until this point, I saw. I up until this point reading the manga, I liked Kettle. I thought he was a pretty interesting character because, you know, a slave master who treats his slaves well. Granted, slavery is completely wrong, but his whole aspect of it, eventually given the freedom, was respectable. And we saw depth with Kettle. We saw a lot of reasonings for how he is the way he is, why he tries to procure so much wealth because he's trying to defend himself. And it's all a result of him having people he cared about taken away from him in the past. But it's personified in a very twisted way where it's also it becomes like he views things as like possessions now. He view like as belonging to him, and it just becomes so fucking ugly, especially at the scene where he's beating Arnhide. That is up until this point, I liked Kettle, but this part just made me lose respect for him altogether. And Yeah, kind of ruined for Canute now.
Yeah, I still don't like Canute, but like what he just did, because you can take a scene of somebody getting beat like that in any show or whatever, and I've like seen stuff like that so much I'm kind of desensitized to it. It doesn't really bother me, but they've spent like a good amount of time building up these characters and making me like them, to where when something like that happens, it's just traumatic.
It's very real because you spend so much time with them. And a character like Arnheid is very human. She's not like at the level of someone like Snake, Thorfinn, or Einar,
Right.
where they're kind of they can take a beating essentially. She's very fragile, especially with a fucking child.
Yeah.
So
I thought after she said, well, first of all, I didn't think he was gonna hit her, because like I had already said he's soft. And then the guard that was there, the guest, whatever you want to call him, he was like, yeah, he's soft. You're just going to get spanked a few times. I mean, I would say that's a little more than a spanking, but he hits her in the arm really hard, knocks her to the ground. I was shocked right there, but she's, saying, I have a baby in my stomach. He says, whose is it? Then she swears up and down that it's his. Please believe me. And he's got like tears coming from his eyes. I thought he was like gonna break down right there and realize like that, he was gonna have a child or something. I didn't realize he was going even further off the deep end, and that he was gonna continue beating her like that, and it just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, like, usually when I'm watching shows, I'm always like, oh, this person's not going to die. They're like a main character or an important character, so something's going to come along and save them. I did not have that feeling with the way they depicted him striking her. It looked like she was going to die. She was getting hit so hard. Thankfully, Snake showed up.
Yeah.
And saved it. And then we had Leaf there as well after the beating's done, and he's like, hey, yo, can I get Einar and Arnheid as well? And he's like, I don't care what you do with Thorfinn and Einar, you can take them, but Arnheid is mine.
And it's him saying that it's a lot more twisted than, because it's no longer that he just cares about Arnheid, because like you said, he found comfort in her. It's a lot more twisted now. Like, she's like a bird that tried to escape, and he's basically going to keep her in a cage for the rest of her life.
Right. It's because it's her. Like, he's losing her. She's running away with the man. He doesn't even know about Gardar, really. Like, he just knows there was someone there. He doesn't know his backstory, obviously, what kind of person he is, what they had together. But he's also about to lose his farm and pretty much everything he's worked for, because he knows war is coming. He's got these ships that are going to be there in a few days. And like, he feels like he doesn't have control over anything happening in his life. So the thing that he can have control over, he's trying to do that, but it's just so like fucked the way he's going about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Kettle is a man who I would essentially describe as, he tried, let's say he did everything right and he's still losing in the end, unfairly. He's gonna have his farm taken away unfairly, but for him to essentially basically take out his anger on Arnheid like that, because he becomes very possessive of her, it's unforgivable. It's fucking disgusting to see that happen. And like, I knew it was coming. When you're saying like, I'm sure it'll be fine, I was like, oh man, he's gonna get fucking decimated by what's about to happen.
Does he know?
Does he know? He does not know. Oh my god. But it's so fucking twisted. Yeah, Kettle at this point, there's no forgiving him for what he did. And the best I don't at this point, my thoughts during reading the manga were, I don't care what happens to this fucking farm. Maybe because the only people that I care about on this farm, Of course, Einar, Thorfinn, and Arnheid. Pitar is cool too, and Snake is a good character. He's sick. I mean, he's a good character. He's reasonably a good person. And also spherical. Everyone else, I don't give two shits about.
Yeah. I'm sure there are more like characters that are good or decent human beings there, but we just haven't, they haven't gotten any screen time. Like maybe those people down at the dock, just people earning a living or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you.
I think the best resolution, I think I could see the best resolution I was hoping from this situation, or I was like thinking in my head from the situation, is that at least get the three of them out here alive. Snake, maybe Snake too. Everyone else, like, good luck.
Yeah. But I think the best resolution is to leave. I don't know if anyone is going to end up leaving or if they're all going to try to stand their ground and fight. But I think if they do, whoever does stay there and fight, we know there's going to be some people, Thorgil, Omar, it's supposed to be his first and maybe his last battle. We'll see about that. But whoever stays there, they're going to lose the fight. Like in combat, they lose. Thorfinn, if he wants to avoid as many casualties as possible, he's really going to have to put his brain to work and figure out how to, mitigate losses before this one snowballs out of control like the Gardar situation, but on a grander scale.
He's got to speech check the fuck out of Canute.
Yeah.
This also kind of furthers the idea of what I was like talking about in like in the intro. So Thorfinn seeing this now like happened to I guess if both Thorfinn and Einar seeing this happen to Arnheid, it also furthers the point, and it's something that Thorfinn himself debated. I mean, was there a better way? Because like, let's say, he didn't want to kill Snake, but killing Snake would have meant Einar. I mean, it would have meant Gardar and Arnheid basically escaping. Yeah,
it would have prevented that whole situation with Kettle beating her. But the thing is, you have to have foresight. You have to have wisdom. So you have to go through experiences like this to, see something similar forming. Basically, you're predicting the future.
Yeah,
or the possibilities.
I agree. It's a lack. It's something Thorfinn has to experience because it all circles back that like this is still him kind of growing. Like he's still a baby. All his life experience was fighting, so him pursuing situations where fighting isn't an option, or trying to find the best way to circumvent situations without coming down to fighting, is something he has to grow into and learn. So you could probably call Gardar and Arnheid like escaping being a failure, but it's one we already see him trying to like debate internally with it. He's trying to learn from it, but it's sad. Arnheid did not deserve any of that.
No, not at all.
They animated it so well, bro. I felt bad. I felt so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Just like the idea like that she's pregnant and shit, it's so fucked up. But damn. Can't wait to show Kojo that.
Yeah, he's not ready.
It's like, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, he's definitely going to think the same thing. Like, because we've seen him before. He cracked under pressure. I mean, he kind of got forced into it because Thorgil was there. He didn't want to seem soft, but he did not want to hit that kid. And when he did, he held back. And he felt so bad when he did it. Now that's just completely out the window. Like he was hitting full force. But he would have killed her if Snake didn't stop him.
It was pure malice and evil. Like not me. It was pure anger of this time around with Kettle.
He all of his other emotions just out the window. It was anger. He let the rage consume him. The need to have control. He's treating Arnheid like property, which I guess he treats a lot of things like property, like not only the farmland, but he has slaves, all the people who work for him. I don't think like he really values life as much as someone like, you know, Thorfinn Einar. He's pretty cold. He's a cold character.
Yeah, I mean, like, up until now, I'm kind of repeating myself a bit, but like, we've seen, it's weird to say like someone is a good slave master, but we've seen the good side of Kettle, and this is just all the ugly. And ultimately, like, again, like, since we've seen him treat his slaves good up until now, minus the kid who maybe has a few broken bones and ribs. But this is just the ugly side of it that's finally come out.
Yeah,
whether or not
it's
this is
actually
like
blowing my mind right now. Thinking back to episode 1, like the way he got introduced, he's a completely different person after this episode.
It's not who he should be directing his anger towards. I understand the context is that they're property, but that's not how you treat somebody. He needs to be directing his anger towards Canute if he wants to accomplish anything, but that's left to be seen.
Well, he probably sees Canute as like, he probably thinks the same as Fox. Like, it doesn't matter. Fox said it doesn't matter who's coming, like, we're screwed pretty much. So he thinks the same thing. Like, how are you going to fight that?
I don't know. Like, he seems ready to fight, whether or not he's thinking rationally. I mean, Thorgil seems ready to die for the farm, but that's just Thorgil. Maybe Thorgil thinks they have a fighting chance. Kettle, I think he's just in a state of rage. And it probably would die with the farm if it comes to it.
I always usually think the good guys are gonna find a way to win the fight. It's just the way this show is. I don't think they're winning this.
It treats it like Vinland Saga. There are great exaggerations. We have characters that like display superhuman feats of strength, but ultimately it stays, I think, reasonably grounded with depictions and like with how stuff goes down. So it's I agree. Like, what's the win condition here and how they accomplish it?
Yeah. I know we've had like a lengthy discussion before the episode, now after, but it was such a damn good episode. Vinland Saga is so good.
It is. I'm glad you're seeing the light.
I mean, I've already seen the light, but now it's like what was that episode? That was like a twist, like a big twist.
Mm-hmm. It's huge. But yeah, all the pieces are together. And we're about to go into the climax in these remaining, I guess, 6 episodes. So it's gonna be fun to see how this plays out. And
so ready.
Hopefully the characters we love come out on top.
Hopefully,
anything can happen with this show.
Yeah, no one's safe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. With that being said, is there anything you else you want to say, or should I end it?
I think I'm good. I'm excited to discuss the episode with Kojo next week.
Yeah, we'll get his thoughts in the intro for next week's episode. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, with all that what am I saying? With all that being said, if you like our content, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. If it means a lot to us and it helps out the channel. If you like our reactions, consider checking out our other videos. If you want to, our Patreon for full-length reactions and early access of some series going on right now. Check out our Patreon, not our Patreon, our Discord. And yeah, come in there, talk to us. It'll be a good time. All that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you all for watching.
See you. Take care.